Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Erbekees experience. I am Jody Erbe, owner of Erbekees-Keeshonden. I'm joined today with my co-host, Melanie Strong.
Hi, everybody. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on YouTube on Jody's channel, Erbekees-Keeshonden. You can find links to all social media to include this podcast on Jody's website, www.erbekees.com. Again, that is www.erbekees.com.
Thank you, Melanie. Today, we are discussing week 1 do's and don'ts. We are gonna, so this topic came up again. I always kind of relate to some of the most common things I see with puppies as they're going home, or, questions people are sending me. And this one really resonated with me because I had a couple, as you know, more puppies just left the kennel, going to their new home. And I've had several, not just one, but several people doing what I think are huge mistakes in those first crucial days. And I really wanted to kind of point it out. One of my clients actually brought up the fact that, I give so much info on Parvo, but I don't really give information on the steps to take to prevent that. And just going into that next topic, next week podcast is going to be Parvo and exposures and things like that. So that'll go hand in hand with this podcast. But today we're just going to focus on things that people are doing, or, just things that you shouldn't do and things you should do in those first,
That first 7 days is trying to focus on days 1 through 7 after puppy gets home.
Yeah. And I think that's great, because I think a lot of people are confused as, it's kind of like bringing home a baby. What do you do with this thing?
Yeah. Now what?
Right. And there's no, I give a lot of, information through the 8 weeks while you're waiting for your puppy and things like that. But, we're going to kind of just hammer in. I know I'm going to hit on the things you don't do because I get it from my clients, and you're going to kind of reinforce what to do because you've got the training behind you. So,
I just want to, caveat that with, we understand that it's really, really hard to not do some of the things we're going to tell you not to do.
Right.
It's really hard, but
Super
it's
hard.
so important and will set you up for success.
Exactly.
If you can keep from doing these couple of things in those first 7 days, it will set you up for success and a lot less difficulties, I guess.
Yeah. And the more you're aware of these things, the better off you're going to be. Because if you're conscious of paying attention to what you're doing in that first week, that's just going to carry over throughout the next several weeks too, which is going to make it, this whole process so much easier. Because, I'm here to say, and I'm sure many of y'all that are listening, puppies are not easy. And a lot of people get really frustrated and discouraged and confused and all those things in those first couple days, because nothing's clicking. The puppy's not going potty, nothing's clicking for, a while, and, one of the big things I really want to stress is, I had a client the other day just going on and on. The puppy hates the crate. It doesn't like the toys. It doesn't like any of my treats. It doesn't like, I'm like, well, first thing you have to do is really sit down and think and understand what this puppy is going through. Mm-hmm. You're taking him or her away from everything it knows, its mother, its sibling, it's me.
Mm-hmm.
Its caretaker, everything. And, it's a shock to them.
Yeah.
They're not going to, and some of them do better than others. I mean, it's very individual, but many of them, they're not going to eat.
Yeah.
They're not going to want new treats. They don't know what a treat is, nor should they be given treats at this stage. You're asking for trouble. I get so mad when people show up and they have 8 different treats in their bag and they're shoving all these treats in the puppy. And it's like, what the hell? Like, I mean, you have to think about it. Number one, you're fixing to travel with that puppy, and is it going to have a reaction? Is its face going to swell up and its throat swell up because it's allergic to this brand new food you're giving to? You know, people don't use any common sense. This is common sense. Don't show up and, you know, week 1, start dumping all these treats. I mean, this lady had, like, she had a list of different things she tried with the puppy, and I'm like, what in the, you know, if that puppy has some kind of reaction, you don't know what the hell caused that.
Yeah.
You just listed 8 different things. So common sense number 1, just stick to the food I give you as long as you can stand it. I know a lot of people hate Purina, but stick to it until the puppy has time to adjust. If you don't, that's for you, and you're being selfish. You're hurting your puppy. I mean, you know, you're risking exposing him, you know, him or her, you know, right off the bat, day 1.
I just want to say, when you take that puppy home, you are already changing everything about its life. Don't change what's going into his belly too.
Exactly.
'Cause
You're
that-
it's causing extra stress.
Yeah.
I mean, you are doing that to your puppy because, you know, for whatever reason. And I get it. I mean, you know, everybody wants to give the new puppy treats and all these wonderful things, but, you know, just understand you're not helping the situation. You're actually making it worse. And I really hope that the puppy doesn't have any kind of reaction, because then you got to drag the puppy off to the vet. You got to give him meds. You got to do whatever, you know, who knows what's going on, how severe it is. You know, puppies are allergic to different foods. It's a fact. So don't do that within, you know, the first week. I mean, you know.
And when you say allergy, maybe we don't use allergy as opposed to they can have a sensitive stomach.
Well, yeah,
in regards to, but I mean, you're right. They can have an allergic reaction.
They can.
However, a lot of times you're going to get diarrhea, throwing up, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just their stomachs, because a dog's emotions are tied directly to their stomachs. So they're already upset. They're already at a heightened state because of being taken away from their litter mates, their mom, their caregiver. And switching their food, adding a bunch of different stuff is just going to make those worse. And you're not going to know when we're ready for new things to be added or new foods to be added.
Exactly.
Because our bellies are so screwed up.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you had to ask me, give me a number, I would just say wait 2 weeks and let them get more adjusted. And then again, when you introduce those treats, 1 at a time. 1, don't sit there with your 8 bags of different treats trying to figure out what they like. 1 at a time. If you give them 1 and they have 0 interest in it over a couple days, throw those away. Wait a week, try something else. You know, as time goes, you have the whole life of this dog to figure out what they like.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all in the first week. And, you know, those of you, man, I'm just going to start saying something. You know, I kind of, you know, we've talked about this in another podcast. I don't like to be a dick to people. I mean, I'll sit here and be a dick and tell you things because you can shut this off and walk away. But, you know, I don't like to confront people because it just doesn't go well for me. Because even though I'm just like, hey, what's up? You know, people are over there, you know, they get,
she's being mean to me.
yeah, they get up. And I don't have that filter. Maybe it's just the way I say stuff. I don't know. Even this last time, and I showed Melanie, you know, this lady, we had this long conversation, and then, you know, I took the time and wrote all this stuff, and then you get thanks, which to me is shut the hell up. You've hurt my feelings. And maybe I'm taking that wrong.
It's like a middle finger.
Middle
is what
finger.
it says to me.
Fuck you. I don't want any of your advice. You're stupid.
As my children have told me or taught me, you do not send just a K.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
rude and disrespectful. Got it.
Yeah, and it was on a text, which I ask people all the time, I am not a texter. And here's why. I want to give a couple reasons why. First of all, I have thousands of people that contact me. So if you ask me something in a text, I don't know who you are. I don't memorize your phone number, and I certainly don't save it. I don't save it. So I can never go back and reference that. With email, I can do that. And that's why I ask people, please email me. Secondly, I can't see. Even, with my contacts in, I can't see my damn keyboard on my phone, and I hate to type on my phone. And yet everybody, even after I ask them, please, can we do this through email? They'll keep going with these mile-long texts. And it's like, it's one of those things that just drive me crazy because I ask everywhere. It's on my Facebook. It's on everything. It's on my communication. Please don't text. Please don't text. Pick up the phone and call me when you have problems like this, because you're writing a 1,000,000-page essay, and, just pick up the phone and call me when you're having these problems. It's so much easier. And that way I'm not misinterpreted to just be nasty, because I don't write well.
And it's so much easier to answer questions in real time.
Oh my gosh.
Because you can
So
ask
much.
follow-up questions
So much.
to the question being asked. Okay, well, have you tried this? Have you done this? When you're going back and forth, especially for text messages, stuff gets lost.
Yes.
Lost in translation.
Absolutely.
Having a full-blown conversation through text.
It's just ridiculous. Pick up the damn phone. And I'm just going to start getting snippy about that, because, it's just, it's one thing if you're like 10 minutes away. Hey, I'm almost there. So, short and sweet. Hey, what size crate? Hey, what food? Something simple. That's, man, no big deal. But when you're sending me these big long texts, man, just stop. Just pick up the damn phone and call me. I'm just going to stop having respect for that. And I'm just going to start telling people, and I'm in a mood today. I'm going to just say that because I came off of,
it's early.
Well, it's early. And the whole Facebook thing has just kind of got me going. I've had so much shit the past couple days with people and their stupid comments, and I'm going to start calling everybody out on Facebook. I decided that this morning. I'm gonna start blowing these people up and just making a big deal of their comments. So, FYI, if you say something nasty to me on Facebook, hang on.
We're matching energy over
I'm matching. But back to the topic. But yeah, so we were talking about the food thing. You just gotta give your puppy time to adjust. They're not gonna eat. It's not that they don't like their food.
Yeah.
They have survived on this food since they've been here. They love the food. If I had a puppy here that wasn't eating, I would know it. They're all growing. They're all doing well. They're all eating this food. So your puppy's going to be very finicky. It's not going to want to eat because it's stressed out. There's a difference in not liking their food and being stressed out. Ride that out. It'll change. It's not going to be forever.
Self-preservation
Exactly.
will kick in.
Exactly.
Your puppy will eat.
No puppy in the history of puppies has ever starved themselves to death when there's food available. They will eat. Absolutely will eat. So just ride that out. So here we go. Week 1, we're not changing the food, and we are not introducing new food. Yeah. That is my biggest number 1 tip. Write that down, people.
Write it down. The first 7 days.
No.
Change nothing else. We've already changed
everything.
So much. Yeah.
Everything. Give them the one thing that makes them comfort. What is food? Food is love. Puppies love their food.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take that away from them, please. Even if you hate Purina Pro puppy, just suck it up, man. Suck it up for a week.
1 week.
Just a week. Let them adjust. Let them breathe. Let them decompress.
And I just have to add this in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going to switch their food, please do it gradually. Mix the two together.
Exactly.
Don't just switch from one to the other. You're gonna have potty issues.
Absolutely.
And if you don't change that food and you don't do that in that first week, chances are, if you're doing the right things, your potty training is going to be taken care of in that
Right.
first week.
Yep.
It's
Right. Everything goes hand in hand. I mean, people make house training, potty training, all this stuff so difficult. And, if you're struggling with it, you're not consistent. And I will say that's all there is to it. Because I have trained too many puppies, too many different personalities, too many everything over the years to know it's just like me with the puppies, I am so muscle memory with the puppies. I know exactly what they need and exactly when they need it and how they need it. And that's what I do every single time with a litter of puppies. It's the same thing with house training. If you do it the right way every day, man, a matter of a week, all these problems just kind of start getting easier because, everything falls into place. People say, it's 3 months. My dog's not house trained. I can't get it to click. And it's like, and again, this isn't a criticism. You're doing something wrong. I mean, whatever that is, I don't know because I'm not there, but if you do everything to a T and have the same emotion and the same everything when you're doing those things, you will see 100% success.
It's all about consistency.
It is. And emotion, I think, is a lot of things because, people get stressed out. Number one, they're tired because after day 3, you're exhausted. You're up all night, you're doing the in and out and all these things. And, so many things about that is frustrating. You're dealing with a lot and that's absolutely part of the course. I mean, that's just part of this, so it's hard to keep those things in check, when you've gone out 8 different times and you come back in and the puppy piddles in the house. It's I don't care who you are. It's hard to get over that. You get a little frustrated.
Yep.
It's just the way it is. But the thing is, you just got to keep at it. And that one time they get it right, you got to have a freaking party. You got to get so excited for your puppy and just put the damn treats away, praise that puppy. You're just going to see them light up. They're going to be so proud.
Try really hard not to squeal. I've seen that happen a lot of times where you get so excited and you just like yell right away. It's like, oh my God. And then the puppy gets scared.
Yeah. Good one.
We scare them and then they're like, I did something wrong.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? So you want to, yes, be excited and be, but try not to make loud, high-pitched noises.
Yeah. I would
when
just
that
start
happens,
with like bending over, petting the puppy right away with a soft voice. Good boy, good boy. And then you can raise from there so that they know, that they're being successful. That's a good point because
it can have the opposite effect.
Yeah. And that's, again, if you don't point these things out, people don't realize. I mean, and that one thing, the puppy's going to be scared to pee.
Yeah, outside.
Exactly.
I like this reaction much better where we're trying not to get frustrated. So we just shut down and show no emotion. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we just pick them up and go outside and they're like, oh, I like that a lot better than whatever that was.
Right. Yeah.
It's, and even in trying to do everything right, we can accidentally do things that cause the opposite effect. And without somebody to point that out or to go, try not to do this.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things when you're in that situation and something like that happens and we'll just use that as a perfect example. You think you're doing well and praising your puppy, but you just scared the shit out of it. You don't even, you move past that so quick that's never in your equation when you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? And it's those moments that you're failing and, or you take a good situation and make it bad, not intentionally. It's never, again, this is never a criticism. our podcasts are meant for education and help and inspiration, not anything else.
Yeah.
It's important to point these things out because as people, we interpret things as just like me with that lady with thanks. I immediately assume that's a middle finger.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe she just had something going on. That's all she could write. But I took that as a middle finger, like, shut the hell up. So, and we do this with everything in life, especially our training, and you can do that one thing and just scare your puppy and then still be so consistent and, doing all the right things. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? So, I think that's a big thing because I have a lot of people who like, I'm going out every 15 minutes. I'm doing this. And from talking to them, it sounds like they're doing everything right. But why is the puppy 6 months old and still not house trained?
Yeah.
I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's normal for a Keeshond. It's just not. They're too smart.
Yeah.
Something else is going on. Now, I can never tell you what that is because I haven't been there for every moment of this dog.
That's why I insist on training in people's homes. I want to go to them because
Exactly.
a lot of times we're trying to fix a behavior that isn't exhibited at the dog park where you want to meet.
Right.
It happens at home and I need to see everybody's behaviors.
Yep.
Not just what the dog's doing, but what are you doing to cause?
Exactly.
Because that's
where you learn. That's where it's at. I mean, I went through that. I know we've talked about this several times with the guy with his hands. The minute it was like the first 15 minutes with these people, I learned so much. It's like, oh God.
Well, there's your problem.
You're the problem. And that time I was kind of like, you've got a lot of things you need to change if you want to be successful. And, and it's never a criticism. It's just, do you want to fix this or don't? Or you don't. One or the other. You either want success or you don't. And if you're to the point, and I hate that people let it get to 6 months. I think that is the biggest mistake. Again, week 1 is your window where you really need to assess what you're doing. If you're seeing success in that first week, you're on it. You're on it, man. Good job. If you're not seeing success in that first week, I'm going to give you a pass. And I'm going to say week 2, you better start seeing some success. If not, we need to really
reach out,
evaluate what's happening.
Yeah.
Because you go on to week 3, week 4, week 5.
You're solidifying the behaviors that you don't like.
Thank you. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the problem. Everybody's waiting. I'm getting those phone calls at a year old, 6 months, 8 months. My puppy's still biting. Well, shit. It's like you should, if your puppy's still biting at 10 weeks, you need to pick up the phone. If you don't want to talk to me because you don't like me, call a trainer, call somebody, get help. You're failing, and I mean that sincerely in a nice way, as nice as that can be. You're doing something that's encouraging that, and we'll kind of move off into number 2, week 1. Don't do it. Hands in the face, playing, rile them up. If you want to do something like that, use a little toy and do a tug or something like that.
Yes.
Don't be swatting at their faces and things like that because you are teaching them. You're Melanie's shaking over there.
I know. Touching my fingers together.
Right?
Your hands should never be toys. Your hands, pet them. Your hands, feed them. That is so important. Your hands, feed them. They should never go in their mouths. They don't physically feed them.
Yeah. Don't hand feed your dogs. That's not a good thing either.
No, if you don't want to feed them in a bowl, do it outside.
Yeah.
Do it in the carpet. Well, don't do it in the carpet because then they'll tear your carpet up.
Yeah.
But treat boxes, different puzzles. Those are all great ways to feed your puppy without just putting it in a bowl.
Yep. The snuff mat, sniff mats, whatever they're called.
Snuffle.
Snuffle. I don't know, whatever they are. But yeah, those are all good options, and again, I sit on my front porch every time I get a group of puppies going to their new homes. That's the first thing and it's most of the time I'm gonna say it's you guys, that's just how men play with dogs, and I get it. I do. And I think you can find balance in that. I think you know, you can roughhouse in different ways and get that, I don't know what you call it, satisfaction in the way that you play that roughhouse. I don't know. Guys just like that more, I think, than women. Women tend to just want to cuddle and love them. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things, right off the bat, work on fetch, things like that, that you can really get your dog excited, and the exercise is phenomenal. What is better than a 15-minute
run session?
Yeah, I mean, come on, you talk about a tired puppy, and some puppies that takes a while. It's not going to be right away, they're not going to learn to fetch day one, but
And I just want to throw this out there. Some dogs, it doesn't matter how early you start, they just don't enjoy fetch.
That's true.
I have had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Why won't you bring it back to me?
Right?
They have no interest.
They don't.
None.
You know what I see a lot of them like, and I should do it in the kennel. I'm going to buy one. The little cat toy on a string.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, the puppies love that.
I shouldn't even put this out there, but my German Shepherd absolutely goes crazy for a laser light.
Oh, yeah.
It is
right?
the funniest thing. And like, I don't do it anymore because he's like 10 minutes after we're like, okay, that's enough. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
He is searching for that little light.
Funny.
He's never, he's probably the dumbest German Shepherd I've ever met in my life.
I know you've said that several times.
He still has not figured out where it comes from. He hasn't figured out the click.
Yeah.
Even the cats are like, I know you're doing that.
Right?
Of course.
That was funny.
But
funny.
No.
But yeah, you got to find different things to do. And, I'm kind of on the fence on this. I don't know if I should even say it, but, as they get older, I don't think it's as big of a deal. Once they're past that puppy stage, there she goes. Go.
Yeah. No, I 100%,
okay.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Once they are 6 months and up and you have zero issues with the nipping and the biting and the mouthing and that kind of stuff, if then you want to introduce that play, like I really want to play with them like this. Like this is how I've always played with my dogs. Well, just give it that amount of time so we don't equate those two things.
Yeah.
We know, I don't just go put my mouth on people. But we also know, woohoo, here comes dad. It's time to play.
Exactly. It's just like your kids waiting for dad to come home and jump on their back and play for it. It's the same thing. And you can do that. But again, it's balance. You have to have a balanced dog, a trained dog, before you can really introduce those things. And that's why, that's part of the reason of this podcast today, is just to make people put things in perspective and in check. And like, you have your whole life with the dog. Well,
their whole lives.
Their whole lives.
Hopefully.
Everything doesn't have to happen in that first 2 months. Do things at the right age. Just like you don't potty train a child at age, 6 months.
Yep.
You have to give the dogs time to learn, especially how to use their mouth, because I think the biting has always been the number one problem I see with people and their dogs. They let their dogs bite too long. Oh, they're teething. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. No. It's a dog biting you. It's unacceptable. There's never a time that it's acceptable. And that's something I wish people would get over, because, it's kind of like all the bullshit I'm going through with Facebook with everybody. My dogs are in cages. It's called crate training. No, they're not in cages, and no, they don't stay there all the time. It's called crate training. You have to have, if I don't know. I don't know what to do with the people that allow that all the time, because, you can't change their mind. They're convinced, no matter what, that this is just an age appropriate behavior. They're teething. They're going to bite. Yeah. Give them something to chew on.
Yeah. Not you, though. Yes, they're going to chew on something to get those teeth, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be you.
And that's the connection I can't make with people like that. Once they have that in their mind, they're convinced that this is acceptable behavior. And that's my thing. It's like, yeah, give them some ice cubes, give them some different things, help them through that teething process. But it's never acceptable for it to be on you or any member of your family, especially your children, and that's day one. Day one. Come, I was waiting.
Put a leash, on the puppy.
Stop that behavior.
Please.
I think the biggest thing, when we're just really going to focus on this week one, and we'll get into crate training and schedule and all that stuff in a little bit. But I think, at this point, I just want to dig in on how you're interacting with this dog on week one. Don't overstimulate it. Try to keep things just chill, especially if you have a house full of kids. How that's going to be hard, whether you do assign times for your children to have individual time with the puppy and let them love on the puppy and do things, keep it at a minimal 10-15 minutes, and then let the puppy rest.
If that 10-15 minutes is a lot for
a puppy,
an 8-week-old puppy
who sleeps 18 hours a day.
Yeah. Literally, they should be sleeping most of the day. And if we're not in a comfortable place.
Well, if you're
we need to find.
If you're keeping them up and you're stimulating them, you're just making these problems worse because that's where your bite's coming in more. All these things are happening. You have to really keep some balance and make sure they have that. That's why crate training is so important to me, because that gives them time to decompress and rest. They need that time. And again, when you're crate training and they're in that crate, they are invisible.
Yes.
You are not talking to them. You are not making eye contact. You are not going in there and reaching through the wires and getting them riled up. You're not doing those things. That's put them in, walk away. And this is extremely important because so many people invade that space. And that's their space. That's their space. That's all they have, as far as a place to go and decompress. And, I know everybody hates the crates, the cages. They're cages. We lock them in these cages. I'm like, I guarantee you, your puppy's going to love that cage. And you leave that door open as they get older, and you see for yourself where they, in those moments when they're tired and they want to rest, where they go. You'll be surprised. It's those people who don't give the crate a chance. Oh, they hate the crate. Sure, they hate the crate. They're in a new place. You have to look at the whole picture. They're in a brand new home. They're nervous. They're scared. They're anxious. All those things. Yes, they go in crates here, but they go in crates with their siblings. They're not in there alone. So now you're taking them in this weird place, all new people, and they're alone. And yes, most of them are not going to like that crate at first. You have to teach them that that's their safe space. And you have to give them time to adjust to that. It's not going to happen day one.
It's not. And the one mistake that people make the most is they will try to crate train, but they can't stand to hear the puppy cry.
Right.
So instead of letting that puppy work through it, we immediately open that door and take them out.
Yep.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't cry. Don't cry. You've just rewarded that behavior.
Yep.
So now we know. And the next time you put them in, we decide to try again. Let's try again. Maybe it'll be better. It's going to be 10 times worse because they figured out, all I have to do is cry and the door opens. Right?
Exactly.
So now, I'll just cry harder. I'll just be louder. And if you give in and we take them out, then you failed. I'm sorry, but you failed.
Yes.
It's going to be a million times harder to get them. And the problem isn't with them. The problem is you being able to stand hearing the discomfort and the absolute let me out of here.
Yeah.
You have to be able to walk away and be okay with it. And it will take less and less time. if you don't open that door when they're crying. Calm and quiet is the only time the door opens.
And that's why I say to walk away, because if you're standing right there, the puppy's, 10 times more likely to misbehave because they see you and they're like, oh.
I'm glad you added that.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Walk away, get out of their eyesight,
Yeah.
Where they can't see. Of course, they know you're still there, but, don't just sit there and look at them like, oh my God, you poor puppy.
Right.
Just get over it and walk away. And that you'll see a big change in a lot of things by doing that. And it's, man, again, you're talking this first week, so many things can just turn around in that first week. It's ridiculous, if you do these things and you do them consistently and, mean what you say, that's a big thing. So many people, it's kind of like with kids, I'm going to count to 3 and then you count to 15 and then you're like, oh, fuck it.
Or asking a question. Sit.
Yeah.
Sit. Do you want to sit?
Yeah. No. Commands, one word, one time.
What? Yes.
And then if they don't do it, show them what you want.
Show them.
Whatever that command is. It's kind of hard to show them potty. That's about the only one I would struggle with. You got to kind of wait for that. But every other thing, and even that, even your basic commands and stuff, although you can take a 7-week-old puppy out here and teach it how to sit in a second. Mm-hmm. You can, but my suggestion is just wait on that stuff a little bit. Mm-hmm. Don't because it just builds, it snowballs, it adds to the frustration. It's another thing you have to do, and just focus on the important things in that first week, making that puppy feel confident and safe. Don't overstimulate it. Work on house training and crate training. Those two is basically one. It's the same thing, hand in hand.
You shouldn't start any kind of what am I trying
obedience?
To say? Formal training.
Yeah. It's not really obedience. Basic training.
Yeah, basic. Yeah. It is obedience, basic puppy obedience, I guess, until 12 weeks. All shots are had. We're hopefully potty trained, those kinds of things. That's the only thing you should be working on. Do not, please, for the love of everything, do not teach your dog to shake your hand. Stop it. Please.
Why?
Oh my gosh, because that's the first thing you do. Any command, because people think it's so cute when their puppy just gives you their paw, right? Yeah. So it's the first thing they do. My German Shepherd, he'd slap you in the face. What do you want me to do? Here. Then that's what they wanted. That's right. My kids, that was the first thing. Shook.
Yeah, I know. Why do that?
I don't know.
It is a stupid trick. It's like, I get it's cute. It is cute. But yeah, I think, moving into that, again, I agree with that 12 weeks and just don't do it. And your first thing you should work on is recall. Yes. What is the one thing that's going to keep your dog alive? Your dog gets off lead and it's running out into the street. That is and that's the one thing nobody does.
I know.
Nobody has recall on these dogs. Mm-hmm. Teach them recall before sit, before lay, before all that other stuff.
And it's so easy. When you teach them that young to, when I say your name, you come to me.
Yeah.
Period. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's what they know.
Yeah.
And it will take you so much further in all of your training, in everything that you do. If you have that recall.
Yeah. And so many people, that's the last thing on their mind. They want all the silly tricks, roll over ain't going to save their life when a car's coming 55 miles an hour and they're in the middle of the road.
Right.
Recall is going to save the dog's life. That should be your number one thing that you teach your dogs. And I'm going to stress that because I see it time and time again. My owners just don't teach that. It's like, come on, that should be number one, But again, we're on week 1, things to do and things not to do. And again, any of that training, I think you're just overstimulating everybody. not just the dog, but yourself, because
Yeah.
you're trying to get on the schedule. You're, focus on what's important and don't, I say it all the time, set yourself up for success and not failure. If you pile too many things on you, you're not going to achieve it. And then you're going to feel like you're not making any progress.
Yeah.
Take the one thing, and again, it's really two, but it's one. Crate training and house training is one thing. You can't, I don't feel, I mean, I guess you can, but I think to be successful at house training, you have to be successful at crate training.
Agreed.
It just makes everything so much easier.
And when you say crate training, that can also mean the playpen.
Yeah.
Or a their own room, their own, I mean,
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
If your dog is free roaming from day one, you're gonna have issues potty training.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It shouldn't be allowed.
It just is.
It just shouldn't be. And I see they're part of the family. They can go where they want. Yeah. When they're trained,
Yes.
Absolutely. When they're trained, but you got a little bit of a road to hike down before your puppy's trained. And let's be realistic, you're making everything so much harder for the puppy when they don't know, they find security in that little playpen because they know what they can do. When you give them a whole house, it's just too much,
Yeah. And you don't have to do the training, do the crate training, do the pen training, whatever that looks like for your household. That doesn't mean that has to be the norm their whole life.
Exactly.
You don't have to keep that pen up. You don't have to keep that crate out where they have access to it. But do the training, because you never know what's going to happen. You may have to board that dog at some time. That dog may need to have surgery for something.
Exactly.
Maybe they break their leg and have to go in for surgery. They're going to be in a crate.
Yep.
They're not going to free roam the vet's office. What if you have a family emergency and you have to board them for a week or even 3 days? That dog is going to be so stressed out that whole time because they have no idea why they're being locked away. If they have that training, even if that training is in the, that first 3 months of their life or that second, 12 to 16 weeks, even if it's that long, they've had exposure to it. It's not something brand new. Even though, I mean, they do get exposure here, but that's the first 8 weeks. Once they leave here and go home, it's, that those memories fade very quickly.
I think it comes back though. I think, even if, like you said, if you're using that crate, even let's say up to 16 weeks and they're doing pretty good with house training and stuff. I think even if you put that crate away, I think if at 3 years they have an accident and they have to go to the vet, I still feel like even though they may not have those memories, it's just kind of in there somewhere and they're more comfortable.
Yeah. Because it's not brand new.
Yeah.
It is. They've had exposure to it.
Exposure. That's what, that's what I was looking for, and who doesn't want that for their dog? Who doesn't want their dog to be balanced and confident and okay in those situations, no matter what they were? Because if you're stupid enough to think, cages are horrible or whatever, I mean, let's be realistic, that's all fine and dandy until something bad happens. And what gets me the most is these people that are so ignorant about the kennels and crates or whatever you want to call them, cages. Those people, it's just, it's like you don't have, I don't even know what
common sense.
Common sense. Stupid. Stupid always comes to mind. You're stupid because you're not helping your dog. You think you're so wonderful and with all your fluffy pillows and letting them run all over, but when things get bad and they're stressed and they have something bad, and I hope that never happens to these people,
right?
Because I feel so sad for those dogs. But think about it. Your dog, and I had a situation where one of my most wonderful clients loved her, amazing client, had a freaking accident and ran over her dog. It was like a freak accident. She would never in a million years do anything. And the dog was, it lived and everything, but it broke its leg. So, thankfully she was not stupid and gave the dog balance, and it knew crate and it knew all these things. But for the people who don't do that, you take it a freak accident like that, and you're not invincible. I'm here to tell you, every one of you listening, anything bad can happen to your dog at any given moment, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have that situation, and you have this dog that doesn't have balance, that's laid on their fluffy pillow all their life and never been contained to a room or contained to anything, and they have to go to the vet and they have to stay there. Do you even begin to think about the level of stress, internal stress that your dog is going through because it doesn't know what's happening? It doesn't understand crate. It doesn't understand being confined. It doesn't understand these things, and it's in pain.
All of that on top of being in pain or hurt or sick.
Exactly.
Or, that's stressful enough on a dog, let alone never being exposed to being confined.
Exactly.
Or, with all of these new people. And of course, at the vet, hopefully it's your vet and they know them or whatever.
And what if it's not?
What if it's not?
Situation?
Emergency hospital, or what if it's the middle of the night and you have to go somewhere that you've never been?
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things.
It's huge, and I just want to sit here and just say shame on you for being so ignorant, for being that shallow-minded that you cannot give your dog that experience, even for a brief moment, to help your dog be better and be confident and be successful in its life. I mean, that one thing. And again, you don't have to do this you can do the fluffy pillows for the rest of the life, but give the dog this exposure. It's critical in your first, well, not just the first week, but in the first several months of training.
Yeah.
It's a tool. If you view it as a negative, then, again, you're just, I don't know, you're just retarded.
You don't have to use it.
It doesn't have to be that way. I mean, my dogs love their crate. The puppies, you see in my videos of the puppies, they're running in and out of those crates, bouncing in and out. They love to go in the crates. And for you to deny that and say that it's just a horrible experience for them, that's on you.
Yeah.
That really is on you. Of course, it's going to look horrible when you're crate training for the first couple of days, but for different reasons. It's not because they hate the crate. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's all the other stuff they're dealing with. And, man, I'm riding that crate thing hard because I'm fixing to blow Facebook up with all my stuff. I'm doing it. I'm going to be that creator that calls out all the haters. I'm going to do it because it's so stupid. It's ignorant.
All right, I'm gonna move away from the crate and say something else that you do not want to do in that first week. You only expose your puppy to the people who live in your home that first week. Don't have
puppy party.
Tom and Jerry from next door come over, or our neighbors from across the street, or even our other family members who don't live in the home. I know. Send them pictures. I know you want to share the puppy, but give that puppy those 7 days to acclimate to just the people that live in the home.
Yep.
And then introduce people, like one at a time. Don't have 14 people come to the house at the same time.
4th of July barbecue.
Yeah, like
70 people. It's and people do it. That's the first thing they do.
Look at my baby. And I know, but you don't do that with a newborn, do you?
Well, I hope not. I didn't. My gosh.
I would hope not.
I kept my babies home for 3 months before I even took them to the grocery store.
Right.
I wouldn't even take them to the store. I was so old school. It's like, no. And then, man, I remember people coming and wanting to touch my baby. Like, no.
You got to remember, and this is a nice little jump into our next podcast, which is going to be Parvo.
Exposure.
The exposure to Parvo and to, multiple other things can happen just by somebody petting your dog.
Yeah.
Like, it can be on their hands. It can be on their shoes. Like, it's so important to keep that puppy just to yourselves and be selfish.
Yes.
Be selfish with your puppy.
Right.
keep that puppy to yourselves until they've had all their shots.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
more than just those 7 days.
Mhm.
Make sure they have all of their shots
Yep.
before you expose them to outside
Yeah, influences.
influences.
And I have this conversation a lot with people because they're like, well, I have a sitter that comes to the house for my children. I have my grandparents, my parents watch the kids, or, there's situations where you can't do that for whatever reason, but just simple precautions. Have them take their shoes off outside.
Yep.
Come in with their socks. When they come in, have them sanitize. Some simple things. If they have animals at their home, you can even go as far as ask them to, bring a change of clothes. And before you interact with my new puppy, please change your clothes or put on coveralls or put a blanket down. There's so many things you can do. And I think that's one of the biggest excuses I see with people. They're like, well, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, some common sense. Let's think about it. Let's walk this through. It's kind of like the Parvo. Well, you tell me how bad it is, but you don't tell me how to prevent it. And it's like, well, it's common sense. Most of it, if you stop and thinking about it, all these things are pretty common sense. If you have to have those outside people, shoes is the biggest thing. Your shoes are going to pick up everything and anything, and it's going to be on their soles. And what do the puppies do? Puppies are, I don't know you see my video. They're freaking fascinated with shoes.
Yeah.
They go right to my feet. And that's why I have this one pair of Crocs that I wear in the house only. In the house, I come in, my shoes are off. My shoes are off by the door, and I put my Crocs on. It's just muscle memory, and, how many times a day am I walking through all the bleach? These shoes are bleached all the time, several times a day. Shoes are the biggest thing. Even for as a family, especially if you have 4 or 5 kids that are going to summer camp or school or whatever, just take your shoes off at the door and don't bring them in the house. That's my biggest precaution that I could tell.
It's literally for a few weeks that you have to do these things. We're not talking you don't have to change everything that you do in your life for the rest of the dog's life. It's literally till they have their full round of shots. That's it.
It's not that deep. I know. It's not that big of a deal. I don't understand why people think it's like, oh my gosh, why can't I do, it's not that deep, man. Y'all just keep your puppy safe. That's like, who doesn't, I get it all the time. And this is another don't. I had, another client that was like, taking their puppy for a walk the first day.
No.
Why?
No.
Why? Like, well, I don't have a fenced yard. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. What do you do when you don't have a fenced yard? Is there a back porch? You can put some pee pads down or spray off when they're done. Is there a 5x5 area right directly off your back door where you can take that puppy and put a little fence? You can buy those little exo fences for less than $50. Walk out and put them in that fence. Why is that so hard? Why, people overthink all this stuff. Well, I don't know. Well, it's pretty damn simple.
Yeah.
You keep your puppy safe.
Yeah. And if you don't have a fenced in yard, do the same thing you're doing, only in your yard. Like, what? You have to take them on a walk away from your house because you don't have a fence. Just walk them in your yard.
Yeah.
At least know what they're being, and you don't. Actually, even in your yard, even if you do have a fenced-in yard, you still have wildlife. We're going to go through all of this in our next one.
Yeah, next one. Yeah. And that's why I say just get that little exo pen, put it down, and that's where you put your puppy in there to potty every single time. And, and that kind, and nothing's going to be 100%, but for the most part, it's going to keep your rabbits out. That's a big lepto risk. Squirrels, can they get in there? Absolutely. But, you're doing what you can. And, that's important. So, that's even, I have it all the time. People are flying with their puppies when they come and pick them up. They're like, well, I bought, this and that, and we'll use the puppy station. I'm like, oh my God. Like, people, do you not read anything? Like,
no.
Anywhere that other dogs have access to, anywhere that could have possibly had another dog is where you don't want your puppy paws on the ground. You just don't. I mean, keep your puppy safe.
Especially the airport, guys.
Anywhere. and having people come up and touch him. It was funny the other day. I went to the vet with the litter of puppies. And you know how I am. And of course, there was this guy. I'm sitting there, my crate's there. I brought the puppies in. Usually I leave them in the car until my room's ready, but it was so freaking hot. It was like, I'm not taking a chance. If my car stops running, I'm not going to know it. So I brought the puppies in, which I never do. And I went to the back of the office and I'm sitting there. And of course, this guy comes in, just a super nice guy. I can't be but he's letting his dog run up to the crate. I immediately, before he was inches away from my crate, flipped the crate over to the other side of me. And I look at the man. I'm like, these are my puppies that are not vaccinated. Please stop. Control your dog, you know? And it's like, and then he kind of, he's sitting there talking to his dog about the puppies.
Oh my.
Do you see those puppies? Aren't they so cute? And I'm like, oh my God, really? I'm like, but I'm just going to flip out. They're going to arrest me. I'm going to flip out. And he's just going on and on and on. And then they came and they took his dog and he came back and sat. I don't know what was going on with the dog, but he came out and sat. And then he got up and walked over to me. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. John, you better answer your phone because I'm getting arrested. But it was like, but he came over and he was like, can I look at them? I'm like, yes, you may. You may look at them all day long, but don't touch them. They're not vaccinated. And people don't do that because they're afraid to hurt people's feelings. I don't know what the deal is, but, they just, people come in, typically, they just come in with their hands and want to start touching through the fence, through the grates or whatever you want to call them. But, and I see it all the time in the airports, people coming up to you. It's like, man, y'all need to just bow up and be telling people.
Oh, I do.
Oh, I know.
I have no
shame.
No issues. And you know what? Honestly, the only time that I've ever had anybody be like, oh, or say anything, usually they're like, I get it. No problem.
Right?
Yeah. And they're like, okay, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know. It's children. That is the only time,
hard. That's hard because
can I see your puppy?
Right.
And you can look, but we can't touch because puppies could get sick. So we can't touch.
Yeah.
And I've only had one little girl go back to her mom. She wouldn't let me touch the puppy. But that was the only time. And mom was like, "It's not our dog, honey.
Yeah.
You can't touch other people's stuff.
Yeah.
That's just how it is." And I was just like, I wanted to stand up and clap for her.
You should. You should.
Because
I do that stuff with my people all the time. I had a conversation with a lady the other day and she mentioned that she homeschooled. I'm like, good for you, man. Good for you. Kudos. I love it. But yeah, it's that's one of the things you got to be able to keep your puppy safe. But yeah, we're gonna dig on that next podcast. What else? First week do's and don'ts. I went over my big things. Food is my big thing. Crate training, house training. Those are your focus.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Don't try and teach your puppy all of the things all at once.
Yep.
Don't
have time.
You have all of the time. And that doesn't mean wait till they're a year old to start. It means you start early, but we start with one thing. And when they absolutely
nail it,
have that down, no question, that's when we add the next thing.
Yeah. Because you'll see people go through a series of training, sit down, 4 or 5 different things all at once. They're working, they think that's a training session. And it really shouldn't be. It's it really, and I think, I think, if people start gauging in their mind, time frames, for things you should be doing with your puppy, of course, we're focusing on that first week because I think people make so many mistakes in that first week. But, if you break it down a little bit more and you go, that timeline of when the puppy's fully vaccinated. When your puppy's fully vaccinated, you should have a couple things in your pocket. I mean, you should have house training down. You should have no biting down. You should have crate training. They should be sleeping through the night. They should be eating when they're fed. They shouldn't be finicky. That's your timeline. And then, when they're fully vaccinated, you open up a whole new window, a whole new chapter in that puppy's life. Now you're going to leash train. Now you're going to socialize. Now you're going to do all these things, and you're going to work on the obedience. You can go to puppy classes because your puppy's fully vaccinated.
That was one thing that I was going to say. Most puppy classes don't start until they're 16 weeks.
Actually, I'm seeing a lot of them starting at 8 weeks. A lot of people I've had.
How?
I don't know how many people I've asked, and they're doing it, and the owners are doing it. They're sending, oh, well, it's a safe place. No, it's fucking not. You have puppies from all over that you have no idea. Maybe they do show proof of vaccinations, but that's not going to tell you if that puppy's been to the dog park. Is there other dogs sick? Are they sick? Do they have something and they're just not symptomatic yet? Stupid.
They should be fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated. It's not worth it.
And people that are I'm just going to
no, go for it, man. This is what this is for.
People that are taking your 8-week-old puppy that is not vaccinated does not care about your puppy. They care about your money.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. Who would do that?
Period.
Like, it just makes me sick thinking. And I've had so many, they start at 8 weeks. They start at 9 weeks. It's like, you do you. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you think that's necessary, then don't even ask me. Why are you asking me? Do it. But it's stupid. I mean, so, and oh my God, and not just that, that's a drop in the bucket. I mean, you get you take your little 8-pound Keeshond and there's a 30-pound German Shepherd. What's going to happen when there's a bad experience? Because I guarantee you, nobody controls their dog. That's why they're there. A lot of the times it's because they have an obnoxious dog, and this is going to be the be-all, end-all magic trick. They're not going to have to do any work. They're just going to go to these classes and their dog's going to be fine. But there's so many different things that can happen in that experience that can change your dog for the rest of its life. What if that dog attacks your puppy? And I've had it happen. I've had it with my clients, maybe not 8 weeks old, but I've had young puppies get attacked from other dogs. And now they're scared shitless.
Of everything.
So.
Yeah.
As they should be. You allow you put them in a situation, and again, I put that responsibility on the owners. You're doing that. You're allowing them. It's just like you feed your dog too much and it gets obese. That's on you. You're a crappy owner. You're not thinking of the dog's health. You're thinking of yourself, and you have to stop that. You have to give these dogs, again, time to just, again, if you take that socialization window after their vaccines, a lot of them, most of the time, are through that phase with that's so touchy, they get through that fear phase, whatever you want to call it. And you don't have to worry about it as much. Not to say that if they get attacked at 18 weeks, they're not going to have problems, but it's kind of, it can be less of an impact, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Maybe they're going to fight back at that age where they wouldn't at 12 weeks or whatever. But anyway, I think that's a good point to make is your socialization and your really hardcore training should start more so when they're
fully vaccinated.
Yeah. And that just gives you that window to just kind of relax and do the things with your puppy and, get them socialized. Because what is it? I don't have it with me. It's like 3 weeks for them to decompress, 3 months. What is it? Do you remember?
It's
333.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just probably going to move on because it's early and I don't remember. But it's something like that. And it just goes to show it takes the puppies several weeks just to, even though they're playing and acting normal, they're still internally struggling. You don't know that. It's just kind of like, as people, we have anxieties about certain things.
Yeah.
They have that too, and you don't see it, or you're not going to let yourself see it, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why we say that first couple weeks, don't be bringing in all the people, don't be doing those things. It's just too much for the puppies. Too much.
Mm-hmm.
Too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. Just chill out. Chill out. That's what I need to. What else we got? I know you have a couple more things.
No,
No?
I don't think so. I think everything that I want to say goes into our Parvo and exposure.
Yeah,
and
with
which
the
is
next podcast.
we're
Yeah,
gonna jump
gonna
into
go
that the next one.
But yeah. So yeah, as far as everything, I guess I think it's getting warm out today, so we're cutting this one a little bit short. But yeah.
I mean, I do want to say that we would like to do a monthly Q&A.
Right?
But to do that, we need your Qs.
Exactly.
Send us all your questions.
Exactly.
Post your questions on Jody's Facebook page, Erbekees-Keeshonden, or you can send a direct email to erbekees@gmail.com. Again, that is ERBEKEES@gmail.com.
Thank you, Melody. And I would like to also mention if you come at me on Facebook snarky, I'm just saying, I'm done.
We're matching energy.
I'm matching energy,
this
y'all.
month.
I am. That's my new motto. Come at me. But yeah, just come at me, man. Yeah, if anybody, especially you new people that are bringing home your puppies, man, if you have any questions about this podcast today, pick up the phone. Don't text me. Don't text me your mile-long questions. Pick up the damn phone and call me and let's talk about this. Let's come up with a plan. I'm 100% invested in these puppies and your success. And I guarantee you, I can give you tips. And if I'm sitting there and I can't, I'll call Melanie. We'll figure it out. Like, we'll give you a plan. We'll help you through it, help point out mistakes that you're making. And,
Gently,
gently. Well, maybe not, but
maybe not. So
it's all in good, my end goal is to help everyone. This is not an attack. My goal is to figure out what you're doing wrong and fix it. And I'm not going to tell you you're pretty while I'm doing it. So, if you can't handle that, maybe call Melanie. She'll probably be.
I, however, will hold your hand.
That's what gets me is like, I go back and I read these things over and over and over. I'm like, what one thing was it that I said that, shut me down? And
it's probably what you don't say.
I don't know.
You don't say, you've been doing a great job. However, let's try this.
Yeah, I do that. I try to do that a lot with people when I see them doing things like, man, good job, man. I really try to do that, but I don't know. But it is what it is. I'm not going to make everybody happy. Some people are just not going to like me, and that's okay. We could do that. But yeah, again, any questions about this podcast? If we didn't get deep enough on any of these topics for that first week and y'all are struggling, or if you're fixing to come get your puppy and you want to just really talk this over, man, give me a call. As always, I want to thank everybody for your continued support. Everybody's been awesome this past week. We've gotten so much support on the Facebook page. I love it. Follow me if you don't already. It's free. Just smash that follow button. Subscribe on YouTube. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, I'm working on my Chupanion things. Chupanion Things store. It's a store. All that information's everywhere on my website and everything. Please check that out. If you have any questions, holler at us. And thank y'all for listening to us yet again. We'll do this again next week.
Thanks, guys.